we need to do what is best in our own assessment of American interests, but I do think perceptions of our allies in the region are important, an important factor for us to consider. I returned from a CODEL that was led by Senator Cornyn over the 4th of July, and we spent time in both Jordan and the UAE. And this was right at the time of really the development of the street protests and the fall of the Morsi government. Both the Jordanians and UAE government officials we met with were strongly in favor of continuing support to Egypt, the Egyptian military. And while I haven't had direct conversations with the Israeli governmental officials, at least what you read in the press, both American and Israeli press would suggest that they feel the same. And I just wanted to, that's been a theme of the testimony this morning, but just to kind of put it in a direct question, would you say that these critical American allies, Jordan, UAE, and Israel, in the neighborhood, would be of the strong position that the U.S. should continue aid to the government, and especially the military government, as a stabilizing force during this time?
The answer is absolutely yes. All of them see Egypt as an essential pillar of stability in the region, and all of them would be profoundly concerned if they saw us taking this step, because they'd worry about what the reaction would be.
Dr. Nunn?
Senator, yes, those allies are in favor of continuing the aid, but I would note that their interests regarding Egypt differ from ours.
Absolutely.
Even my fellow panelists who are against suspension of aid have been raising the democracy, human rights, civil society, free media, rights of all citizens, including Christians. These interests of ours that the United States has, those allies generally don't take an interest in such issues.
I wouldn't characterize it as not taking an interest in those issues. I think that goes too far. That's my own editorial comment. And I agree, we have to make the right decision for our interests, but the interests of close allies that we have, who admittedly look at it differently. And one of the reasons they look at it differently is they're in the neighborhood and we're many, many time zones away. That the perceptions of our close allies are a factor in trying to reach the right decision in terms of our interests. But yeah, Ambassador Kurtzer.
The answer to your question is yes, and I'd simply go beyond it to say, look, the challenge we have now is, yes, we want to promote democracy, we want to maintain our significant interests, we want to maintain the constancy of our relationship, and sometimes these things are going to come into contradiction with one another. But there's a fourth element which goes to the heart of your question, Senator, and I agree with it fully. In some respects, if Egypt gets it right this time, and if we get it right this time, Egypt can be the model for democratic change in the region that people have been talking about for 2 years. Right now, it's not that model because it has not yet found its footing. It doesn't even know where it's heading and how it's going to build this democratic culture, democratic institutions, and so forth. So yes, the region is going to look at this carefully. The constancy of our relationship is important. And if we get it right, the payoff regionally, not just in Egypt, is also going to be quite important.